Alright guys, in my breakdown of all the Crye vests, I looked at the AVS as a plate carrier without the harness, or as a traditional plate carrier I should say, and I don't really enjoy it. And just to kind of recap why that is, when you don't have the harness on here, you have to do all of your cummerbund attachment inside or on the interior face of the plate bag versus the outer face of the plate bag on the JPC. And the shock cord can get a little bunched up, but the bigger issue is without the harness, you really, unless you are like the tiniest human for the size cummerbund that you would run with the harness, you have to get a bigger harness or you don't have enough space, because instead of attaching out here, you're now attaching in here, and it eats up a lot of cummerbund. So where this cummerbund fit me absolutely fine with the harness on here, it does not fit me without the harness. All right, so the AXL Advanced micro harness here makes this significantly better. All right, I hadn't had any real interest in this thing just because it wasn't something I needed, but I ended up getting one used and I threw it in here kind of as an experiment. It made it a much better plate carrier than having no harness at all, but it also is significantly more comfortable under a ruck than the harness system is. All right, so if you are given an AVS or you're forced to use an AVS, right? Forced, that's a terrible system, right? But if you have to use an AVS and you spend a lot of time under a ruck, I highly encourage you to look into getting the AXL micro harness. It removes so much bulk from the system and it makes rucking with this thing much more enjoyable. All right, you have so much standoff with the harness and the AVS that rucking is never really enjoyable, right? But it's kind of a hassle with the AVS versus a JPC or something like that. This completely fixes that situation and makes it way better. All right, so if you've never looked into the micro harness before, I can't really speak to how well it does the whole structured plate carrier thing, because I just don't have enough weight on here that I really notice it, but it does make rucking much better. You don't feel like you've got as much stuff going on the sides and the back and everything. Your ruck fits better. It's really great. All right, and if you don't ruck but you don't want to buy the whole harness yet, there's still a valuable tool, because these things, in all honesty, are not much more than the new cummerbund that you're going to have to get to make this work. Let alone, I don't think you can buy an AVS cummerbund by itself. So you got to get the JPC one, which doesn't work very well either for this kind of fix. So it's almost a cost-saving option to get that micro harness instead of having to buy a new cummerbund. All right, because now everything fits fine, and you can actually see I'm taking slack out of this versus having to have my shock cord spread as wide as possible just to try to make it fit. Hopefully that makes sense. If not, I apologize. I don't really know how to verbalize that any better, but ruck plus AVS, ditch the harness, get the micro harness from AXL Advanced.